Hello guys, welcome to another model building video. Actually, this is my first video in English. If you check my previous videos, you can see that some of them has got English subtitles, but all of them are in Turkish. So from now on, I'll upload videos in English and Turkish. Today we are going to build a İçen Panzerwagen 70, which is known as BTR 70. This version had been used by East Germany, so they name it as İçen Panzerwagen. It is 1/35 scale trumpeter kit with very nice details. This kit has been released in 2014, so it has got relatively new tooling. There are more than 480 plastic pieces and 3 photo etch sheets in the box. First, we are going to remove plastic periscope covers and replace them with photo etch parts. I advise you to use a sharp blade while doing this. After removing plastic parts, I've cleaned up the surface and prepared it for the photo etch parts. I cut the photo etch parts from the sheet, used metal file on the sides, and glued it with the super glue on the surface. The vehicle has got 8 wheels and the suspension system has got pretty nice details. Previously, I had built a striker kit from Trumpeter and faced minor problems regarding plastic quality, but I haven't had any problems with this kit. BTR 70 has served in the army of nearly 30 countries. The vehicle was manufactured by the Soviet Union in the 70s. Its predecessor was BTR 60 and successor is BTR 80. This part is the bench which military personnel sit on inside the vehicle. While building it, I was thinking, how should I weather it? Then I checked the reference photos from the Prime Portal website and saw that it is made of wood actually. Didn't surprise me at all, saving both cost and weight. The detail level of the interior section is pretty good. On the reference pictures, there are a lot more cables and stuff going inside. So the kit itself is providing you a very nice space to enrich the details. Unfortunately, if you close the hatches, none of them will be seen. I always use PVA glue for clear parts. It is cheap and when it dries it becomes transparent. Also you can clear it with water and a cotton swab. Working with photo etch parts can be quite tricky. It might not end as you wish. So before starting, you should understand from where and how you should bend it and what it is going to be like in the end. Since we have nice interior details, I made all the hatches open. Wheels are given with polycaps. It gives you the flexibility not to glue them on the vehicle, and wheels can be moved, which I do not recommend at all. In order to mask clear parts, I've used Mr. Hobby masking salt. It makes your life easy with this kind of clear parts. So I have assembled all parts together and now we can move on to priming. Mostly I use Mr. Surfacer as a primer. Since I ran out of grey, I mixed white and black with Mr. Hobby Rapid Thinner. First I'm going to paint the interior and weather it. After having it done, I will glue the two parts of hull and going to do the main color. In the reference photos, interior is white on the sides and green on the ground, so I did it accordingly. As I mentioned before, since the bench is made of wood, I painted it with Tamiya Wooden Deck 10 at first. Then used heavy chipping fluid. Without wasting time, I sprayed the green color. With the help of a toothpick, I have made some scratches on the bench. I used those colors for the ground. I don't even remember the ratio, just mixed them until I decide that I got the shade that I want. When working with different types of paints and brands, I always use their own thinner. The performance of the paint is being much better. After having painted all details, I gave it a gloss coat. For the weathering phase, I started with the enamel washes. I applied it on the sides and corners. After giving it a few minutes to dry, I cleaned up the excess paint. Then I used light dust deposit and earth tone from the AK Interactive. Finally, I applied some pigments. The most important thing here is not to cover previous work completely, but create a rich and interesting look. I used Vallejo dark brass for the chipping effect. After dipping the sponge into the paint, I'm unloading the excess paint to a piece of paper until I get this subtle effect. When the weathering of the interior part is finished, I sprayed a matte varnish and again I used another pigment color. I've glued the upper and lower hull together with the Revel contactor. Before applying main color, I've primed the whole body of the vehicle. As main color, I've used Mr. Hobby H511. You can see how much I have diluted the paint. As you may know, the consistency of the paint should be like milk. When I see the paint moves neither slow nor fast, I stop adding thinner. And I'm using 0.4mm needle with 10 to 15 psi. After that first coat, I added some black and had a darker shade. While applying it, I paid attention not to cover all the areas. When it is finished, I added some white to the main color and painted the details with the help of a brush. This technique is not realistic but gives you a nice contrast on the surface. There are 4 decals needs to be applied. When I sprayed the main color, I've used Mr. Hobby leveling thinner to dilute the paint. So the leveling thinner gives the paint a very nice semi-gloss finish, which means that I will not bother myself with a gloss varnish before decals and washes. First I use this Enamel Wash, which is for NATO colors. I left it too long to dry, and when I tried to clean it with a brush, it was almost impossible. so I used a cotton swab with enamel thinner to clean excess paint. Since our main color was lacquer based, I did not have any problem while cleaning it. At the back side of the vehicle we have some detail parts which needs to be painted in grey metal color. I saw this technique from the Uncle Night Shift, and since then this is my favorite technique to paint metal accessories on the armored vehicles. First I'm using Vallejo dark grey blue, then add in some white and water to thin it. Consistency should be like a filter. After applying the shade randomly, I use track wash, but I dilute this one as well. When it dries, I use another diluted rust tone. When I applied this light rust, didn't like the color and removed some with enamel thinner and reapplied the track wash. Finally, I used a graphite pencil to give a shiny look on the edges. When I'm done with the washes, I applied a matte varnish. I used light dust deposit again for the lower hull, but this time I poured it in the airbrush and sprayed directly. It creates a nice unified surface. I've used this circle template to paint the rims. It is a very convenient tool. I have used AK weathering pencil for streaking effects. You need a matte surface to get the best result. You can clean it with water, but some colors are not easy to clean. Well, I have used this product many times in this project. Again, I have diluted it and applied on the surface. When it dried, I used a stiff brush and enamel thinner to clean the surface. After that, I used streaking grime color but diluted it like before and applied on the surface, but this time did not clean it. After all, I have to say that I am satisfied with the result. Finally, I painted the lights and mirrors with Molotov liquid chrome paint. Well, we came to the end of another model building video. I hope you liked the result. Take care until I see you in the next video.